The champagne flute shattered against the wooden dance floor like a grenade in Elias Thorne's chest, shards scattering under the twinkling string lights like shrapnel from a battlefield he thought he'd left behind. Laughter erupted from the cluster of aunts and uncles, their faces flushed with wine and that old, poisonous glee, as Uncle Harlan bellowed. "That's what you get for prancing around in that fairy uniform. Boy, always breaking things that ain't yours to touch." Elias froze, his dress blues suddenly too tight, the metals pinned to his chest feeling like anchors dragging him under the weight of eyes that had once looked at him with pride. In that instant, the wedding, his sister Lila's joyous union in the lavender fields of upstate New York, crumbled into the nightmare he'd dreaded since the invitation arrived 6 months ago. Elias had arrived that morning with the sun cresting the Catskill Mountains, his black SUV kicking up gravel on the winding road to the Hale family farm. At 35, Captain Elias Thorne was a ghost of the boy who'd grown up in these hills, the one who traded dirt bikes for desert patrols, small-town whispers for the roar of Black Hawks over Fallujah. His skin, tanned from endless drills under Texas suns during his last deployment, stretched taut over a frame sculpted by rucksacks and regret. Green eyes, sharp as bayonets, scanned the horizon not for threats but for escape routes. He'd come home for Lila, his baby sister, the one person who'd hugged him tighter when he finally whispered his truth 2 years ago. "I'm gay, Lil, and I'm done hiding." Her response? A fierce squeeze and a promise. "Family's family, Eli. They don't get a vote." But family had votes, ballots cast in sideways glances, and Bible verses slipped into cards. The Thornes were old New York stock, farmers who clawed land from rocky soil, Catholics who'd build a church steeple with calloused hands. Elias's coming out had been a quiet detonation, his father's silence at the dinner table, his mother's rosary beads clicking like a countdown to judgment. Lila's wedding to Marcus Hale, her high school sweetheart and Elias's oldest friend from boot camp days, was meant to be a bridge. Marcus, with his easy laugh and hazel eyes that crinkled like autumn leaves, had always been the buffer, the guy who'd punch a bully for Elias in 3rd grade, then share a stolen beer under the stars at 18. They'd served together in the 101st Airborne, Elias the strategist, Marcus the unflinching sergeant who charged first. But some lines they never crossed, not with don't ask, don't tell shadow lingering like smoke, not with home pulling them back to secrets. The ceremony had been a blur of vows under an arch of wild roses, Lila radiant in ivory lace, her laughter bubbling like the creek behind the barn. Elias stood as best man, his toast short and sincere. "To Lila and Marcus, may your love be as steady as the hills that raised us." Cheers had rippled, genuine for a moment, until the reception tent filled with the haze of cigar smoke and the low hum of judgments. That's when it started unraveling. Cousin Reggie, 3 beers deep, clapped Elias on the back too hard. "Heard you got that promotion, Captain. Must be all that. Networking in the barracks." Snickers from a man at the bar. Aunt Miriam, pearls clutched like a shield, leaned in during the cake cutting. "Elias, dear, have you thought about settling down? A nice girl could fix that." Wanderlust. The table fell silent, forks hovering, and Elias forced a smile, the kind he'd worn in briefings with brass who pretended not to notice the rainbow pin on his civilian jacket. By the time the dance floor cleared for toasts, the air thickened with the scent of lavender and malice. Lila's turn first, her words a tearful ode to roots and wings. Then Uncle Harlan, the family patriarch at 72, his voice gravel from years of tobacco and sermons. He raised his glass, eyes locking on Elias like a sniper's scope. "To family. We stick together blood and bone, no matter what paths we stray down. Some of us fight for this country, God bless him, but others, well, they fight their own battles at home. Just remember, boy, the good Lord's got a plan for straightening out the crooked." The tent exploded in awkward chuckles, heads nodding like wheat in wind. Lila's face paled, Marcus's jaw tightened beside her, but no one spoke. Elias felt the heat rise, not anger but that old, hollow ache, the one that had him enlisting at 18 to run from a father's disappointment, only to find the same ghosts in foxholes. He stood then, legs like lead, glass in hand for his second toast. "To love," he said, voice steady as a rifle report, the kind that doesn't bend to maps or mandates. It just is. A smattering of claps, drowned by Harlan's scoff. That's when the flute flew, Reggie, egged on, flinging it in mock salute. Here's to the captain's aim. Shards bit Elias's boot, and the laughter swelled, a wave crashing over him. He saw Lila's hand reach for Marcus. Her grooms face a storm cloud, but Elias waved them off. Not on your day, his eyes pleaded. He turned toward the tent flap, the fields calling like a lover's whisper, when a voice cut through, clear, commanding, laced with the steel of shared foxholes. Attention! The word snapped like a salute, and the room stilled. Marcus Hale stood at the head table, his chair scraped back, one fist on the linen cloth. At 34, he was broader than Elias remembered, shoulders filled out from ranch work, his tuxedo, straining against muscle, earned hauling hay bales at dawn. Hazel eyes, usually soft as honeyed whiskey, burned now with a fire Elias had only seen in combat. He raised his right hand, fingers straight, palm out, the crisp, unyielding salute of a soldier addressing his superior. Captain Thorne, Marcus said, voice carrying to the rafters, permission to speak freely? The tent held its breath. Elias met his gaze, heart pounding like rotors on a medevac. What are you doing? But he nodded, throat tight. Granted, Sergeant. Marcus lowered his salute slowly, but the tension in his frame didn't ease. He stepped onto the low stage where the band had paused, microphones crackling to life under his palm. The guests shifted, murmurs rippling like wind through Lavender, confusion from the younger cousins, discomfort from the elders. Lila gripped the table's edge, her veil askew, eyes wide with a mix of fear and fierce hope. Elias stood rooted, the broken glass at his feet a glittering accusation, his uniform suddenly a shield he wished he could shed. I've known Elias Thorne since we were kids stealing apples from Old Man Whitaker's orchard. Marcus began, his drawl pure upstate, warm gravel, like the road they'd raced down on stolen nights. He was the smart one, always mapping out adventures while I just dove in head first. We grew up, enlisted together, shipped out to places where the sand stuck to your soul and the nights were too long for secrets. He paused, scanning the faces, Harlan's scowl deepening like a thunderhead. I watched him lead men through hell, pulling privates from burning wrecks, holding lines when the world wanted to break. And through it all, Elias never broke. Not once. Aunt Miriam fidgeted with her napkin, whispering to her husband, but Marcus pressed on, his voice gaining steel. Now, I stand here on the happiest day of my life, marrying the woman who's been my anchor since prom night. Lila Thorne, my Lila, she's the light that pulled me home. But I wouldn't be the man I am without Elias. He saved my life in Kandahar, dragged me 2 miles under fire when a Taliban sniper had me pinned. And in return, I kept his secret, because that's what brothers do. His eyes locked on Elias, and in that gaze, something shifted, a spark long banked, flaring to life. The room leaned in, sensing the pivot, the unspoken truth coiling like smoke. But secrets have a weight, Marcus continued, his free hand unclenching, revealing a tremor only Elias would notice. They bend you until you're not sure what's straight anymore. Elias carried his alone for years, through deployments, through don't ask, through coming home to a family that loves him but doesn't always see him. Tonight, under this tent, with y'all witnessing, I'm done letting that weight crush him. Because the truth is, Elias isn't just my best man. He's the man who taught me what courage looks like. The man he faltered, glancing at Lila, who nodded, tears carving paths through her makeup. The man I love, not like a brother, like the half of my soul I didn't know was missing until it was standing beside me in dress blues. Gasps rippled, sharp as gunfire. Harlan surged to his feet, chair toppling. What in God's name? But Marcus raised his hand again, not in salute this time, but command. Sit down, Uncle Harlan. This family's had enough of your God's wrath. Tonight we talk about his grace. The old man sank back, red-faced, as Lila stood, linking her arm through Marcus's. Eli, she said softly into the mic, Marcus and we talked. Months ago. He loves you. And I love you both enough to share the spotlight. This wedding? It's not just ours. It's a beginning for all of us. Elias's world tilted. The fields outside blurred through the tent mesh, Lavender swaying like a heartbeat. Marcus loved him? The late night calls after Lila's engagement. Marcus's voice rough with something more than friendship. The hesitation and invitations to the farm, the brush of hands that lingered too long. It crashed over him now, a riptide of memory, stolen glances in barracks, a kiss aborted under desert stars, promises to wait until home was safe. And Lila knew? His sister, fierce and unyielding, had woven this net of redemption. But Joy warred with fury. "You should have told me," Elias whispered, stepping forward, voice breaking on the mic feedback. "Not like this. Not with them laughing." Marcus descended the stage, closing the distance, his tuxedo brushing Elias's uniform. Up close, he smelled of cedar and champagne, eyes pleading. "I was scared, Eli. Scared of losing you to the uniform, to the hills, to a family that'd rather bury truths than face 'em. But seeing you hurt tonight, that ends now." He cupped Elias's jaw, thumb tracing the tear track, and in front of God and kin, pressed a kiss to his forehead, soft, searing a vow. The tent fractured then. Some wept, others stormed out, Harlan muttering scriptures like curses. Lila pulled Elias into a hug, her laughter wet against his neck. "Welcome to the mess, big brother. We're all in it now." As the band struck up a slow waltz, at last, Etta James's soul wrapping the chaos, Marcus extended a hand. "Dance with me?" Elias took it, the world narrowing to callous palm and hazel eyes. But as they swayed, Elias's mind raced back, unspooling the years that led here, the battles fought in silence that made this moment of victory sweeter than any medal. It started in boot camp, Fort Benning, Georgia, summer of '09. Elias, 20, fresh from high school valedictorian speeches and a father's gruff, "Make us proud." Marcus, same age, broad and brash from the next county over, enlisting to escape a stepdad's belt. They've bunked adjacent, Elias's neat footlocker beside Marcus's chaos of dog-eared comics and half-eaten protein bars. Nights, after lights out, they'd whisper over the squeak of bunks, dreams of glory, fears of failure. "You ever think about after?" Marcus asked once, voice low. "Settling down, kids, the whole deal?" Elias's heart stuttered. "Yeah, but not with, a beat. The wrong person." Marcus chuckled, but his eyes lingered, dark in the moonlight, slanting through blinds. Deployment bonded them tighter. Iraq first, then Afghanistan. Elias commissioning as lieutenant, Marcus rising sergeant, their unit a family forged in dust. Elias came out to himself in a Humvee, heart pounding as he deleted Grindr, realizing the ache wasn't for apps, but for the man snoring beside him. He buried it, per policy, but Marcus sensed the shift. "You good, Cap?" he'd ask after close calls, hand on shoulder a lifeline. One night in Bagram, after a patrol gone south, RPG shrapnel claiming 2, Marcus found Elias on the tarmac, staring at stars. "Can't sleep, a flash past bourbon-burning paths. It's all pretend," Elias confessed, not the words but the weight. Marcus pulled him close, "No kiss, just hold. Then pretend with me. Ain't no one else here." Home leave tested it. Lila's engagement party, 2 years back, Marcus pulling Elias aside in the barn. "Lila's amazing, but you're the one who sees me." A kiss then, stolen and searing, tasting of hay and heartbreak. "Wait," Marcus begged, "till it's right." Elias waited, deployments pulling him away, letters unsigned but scented with lavender from Lila's garden. He rose to captain, medals for valor, but the real fight was letters home. "Proud of you, son," from Dad, and signed by Mom. Coming out to Lila, her tears, then fire. "Marcus knows. He told me after the proposal. Loves you, stupid Eli." Now, swaying to Etta, Elias pulled back. "You proposed her knowing?" Marcus nodded, sheepish. "She knew from the start. Said if I didn't claim you, she'd disown me." Laughter bubbled, real this time, as Lila joined, a trio, in the spotlight. But Harlan's shadow loomed. Tomorrow's reckonings, family fractures. As the song faded, Elias whispered, "Truth's out. What's next?" Marcus grinned, fierce. "Us. Finally." Dawn broke over the farm like a reluctant truce, pink light filtering through lace curtains in the guest room where Elias lay awake, Marcus's words echoing like aftershocks. The bed was too wide without him. Marcus had slipped back to the bridal suite after the dance, Lila's laughter trailing him like a benediction. Elias traced the ceiling beams, scarred from childhood forts, his body humming with the ghost of that forehead kiss. 35 years, and love felt like a live wire. Thrilling, dangerous, liable to spark a blaze that consumed everything. He rose before the roosters, uniform traded for jeans and a faded Ranger's tee, boots silent on the stairs. The kitchen hummed with early risers. Aunt Miriam at the stove, flipping pancakes with mechanical precision, her pearls swapped for an apron stained with blueberry. She glanced up, eyes skittish as a deer's. "Coffee's on, Elias." No deer, no warmth, but no venom either. He poured a mug, black as his mood, and leaned against the counter. "Morning, Aunt Mim." Silence stretched, broken only by the sizzle of batter. "Finally, last night." That was bold, reckless even. Elias's grip tightened. Truth usually is. She flipped a pancake too hard, edges crisping. "Your uncle." Harlan's fit to burst. Says it's a scandal, dragging the family name through. Well, mud, he thought. Sin. But Miriam surprised him, sliding a plate over. "I remember your mama, God rest her, when you were little. Said you had a poet's heart. Maybe that's why this hurts so." She met his eyes, soft for the first time. "Just give us time to bend, Eli. We ain't all bone." Footsteps thudded. Dad, Elias's father, Robert Thorne, 68 and weathered as the barn oak, shuffling in with his limp from a logging accident. Gray hair, cropped military short. Eyes the same green as Elias's, but dulled by decades of unspoken grief. Mom's death 5 years back. Cancer, quick and cruel, had carved him hollow. "Son," he grunted, pouring coffee without looking. Elias braced. "Dad." The word hung, heavy as ruck. Robert sipped, stared out the window at the fields where Lila and Marcus walked arm in arm, her head on his shoulder. "Heard the ruckus last night." Harlan's got his britches in a twist. A pause, mug set down deliberate. "You happy?" The question landed like a frag grenade, shrapnel of years. Dad's handshake at graduation, pride in the uniform, the silence after Lila's call about the coming out. Elias swallowed. "Trying to be." Robert nodded, slow. "Marcus is a good man. Lila's lucky. And you." He trailed off, clapping Elias's shoulder. Awkward, but there. "War changes folks. Love does too. Just don't let it change you into something you're not." Elias blinked, the closest to absolution he'd get. As Dad limped out to the porch, Miriam whispered, "See? Bending." The day unfolded in fragile normalcy. Cleanup crews hauling chairs, guests scattering like leaves, some with hugs, others with stiff nods. Harlan held court by the fire pit, Reggie at his side, voices low but laced with thunder. Elias steered clear, helping Lila fold linens in the loft, her hands trembling as she tucked lace. "They'll come around," she said, more plea than promise. "Or they won't. But Marcus and I, we meant it. Poly, open, whatever label fits. As long as you're in it." Elias laughed, pulling her close. "You're crazy, Lil." She grinned, wicked. "Runs in the family." Marcus found him mid-afternoon. Hayloft door creaking open, sunlight slanting gold. He climbed the ladder, Tux traded for flannel and boots, a picnic basket swinging. "Truce offering," he said, spreading a blanket amid bales. "Cheese, bread, that bourbon from Bagram days." They ate in companionable quiet, knees brushing, the air thick with unsaid. "Last night," Marcus started, "I rehearsed 100 ways. Thought I'd choke." Elias tore a chunk of bread. "You didn't. But why now?" Lila's day. Marcus set his flask down, hazel eyes intense. "Because watching them break you, it broke me first. I've loved you since that orchard, Eli. Hit it, 'cause the world said no. Army, family, fear. But Lila, she saw it, call me on it. Said marry her, but claim him too." Elias's chest ached, sweet sharp. "And you?" Marcus leaned in, breath warm. "I'd burn it all for you." The kiss came then, not stolen but claimed, lips meeting soft, then urgent, hands tangling in flannel and hair. It tasted of salt and years, Marcus's stubble rasping like sandpaper on Elias's jaw. They broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed. "What now?" Elias murmured. Marcus smiled, slow. "Now, we fight for this. Together." Evening brought the storm, literal and not. Clouds rolled in from the west, thunder rumbling as the family gathered for farewell dinner in the barn. Tables groaned under pot roast and pie, candles flickering against the gathering dark. Harlan at the head, face carved stone. "We pray," he announced, voice brooking no argument. Heads bowed, his words droned. "Lord, guide the lost, strengthen the straight path." Elias's jaw clenched, but Marcus's hand found his under the table steady. Amen echoed, and Harlan fixed Elias with a stare. "Boy, you owe this family an explanation." The barn hushed, fork still. Elias rose, heart hammering. "Explanation? For loving who I love." Harlan slammed a fist. "For shamming us. Parading your ways in front of kin." Lila started to rise, but Marcus beat her, standing tall. Enough, sir. Elias served this country when you were safe in your pew. Honored it more than words or prayers. Harlan's face purpled. And you, Hale? Betray my niece for? Dad's voice cut in quiet thunder. Harlan, sit. The old man gaped. Robert, you defend this abomination? Dad met his eyes, unflinching. That's my son. And your nephew. Blood, Harlan. Remember that. The rain hit thin, sheets lashing the tin roof like applause. Tension crackled, Harlan deflating as cousins shifted uncomfortably. Aunt Miriam spoke up, tentative. We've all got sins, brother. Maybe it's time we forgive. Harlan grumbled, but pushed back his chair, stalking into the storm. The table exhaled, conversations stuttering back to life. Elias sank down, drained, as Lila squeezed his hand. See? Bending. Later, under the eaves, ran a silver curtain. Marcus pulled Elias close. Proud of you, he whispered. Elias leaned in, the world narrowing to wet flannel and steady heartbeat. Us against the world? Marcus chuckled. Always was. But as lightning forked the sky, Elias wondered, could love mend what judgment tore? The night whispered yes, but dawn would test it. The storm passed by midnight, leaving the farm slick and silvered, air sharp with ozone and promise. Elias couldn't sleep, ghosts of the dinner circling like patrols. He slipped from the guest room, boots soft on dew-kissed grass, toward the old oak where he'd carved initials with Marcus at 16. E.T. plus M.H., hearts naive as the boys who'd etched them. The tree loomed, branches gnarled guardians, and there was Marcus, leaning against the trunk, flask in hand, eyes on the stars peeking through clouds. Couldn't sleep either? Elias asked, settling beside him, shoulder to shoulder. Marcus passed the bourbon, warm thread between them. Too much spinning. Harlan's words, your dad's. And you. Always you. They sat in that quiet intimacy, the farm's chorus, crickets, distant cows, wrapping them. Elias sipped, the burn grounding. Dad surprised me. First time he's looked at me like I'm whole. Marcus nodded. Robert's a quiet storm. Lost your mom, lost his way a bit. But he sees you now. Really sees. Memory tugged Elias back, unbidden. Dad at the airport, 5 years ago, after Mom's funeral. Elias in civvies, fresh from a tour, the hug stiff but desperate. Don't you dare leave me too, son. Elias hadn't. Letters, calls, the occasional fishing trip where words were sparse but presence spoke. Coming out? He'd braced for rupture, but Dad's response was a letter, postmarked slow. Heard from Lila. Army made you strong. Love don't change that. No embrace, but a door cracked. Tonight, it swung wider. You think he'll ever say it? Elias murmured, head on Marcus's shoulder. The words. Marcus's arm curled around him solid. Give him time. Lila's been working on him. Stories from your deployments, that purple heart you downplayed. He's proud, Eli, just buried under old fears. They lapsed into silence, flask emptying, stars wheeling overhead. Elias's hand found Marcus's, fingers lacing natural as breathing. Tell me about the proposal, he said, voice low. Marcus chuckled, rumble in his chest. Lila and I up on the ridge last fall. I knelt, ring out, but she stopped me. If you love Elias, say it first. So I did. Drove to your base in Virginia, spilled it all over bad diner coffee. You were on a call, oblivious. But I knew then, no hiding. Elias lifted his head, searching hazel depths. And if I'd said no, Marcus's grin flashed white. I'd have begged, or stolen you anyway. The kiss ignited slow, bourbon sweet, Marcus's hands framing Elias's face as if memorizing. It deepened, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces, long, separated, the oak their witness. When they broke, breathless, Elias whispered, I love you too. Have for years. Marcus's eyes shone. Say it again. I love you. Laughter mingled with tears, joy raw as the rain-soaked earth. Morning brought chores. Elias mending fences with Dad, hammers echoing like heartbeats. Robert worked silent at first, nails driven true, but midway, he paused. That boy Marcus, he's solid. Like you. Elias hammered throat tight. Yeah, he is. Another nail. Your mother. She'd have loved this. Fought for it. Elias stilled. She knew. Dad nodded, eyes distant. Suspected. Said pray for happiness, not perfection. The words unlocked something, a floodgate. Elias dropped the hammer, pulling Dad into a hug. Stiff at first, then arms wrapped back, fierce. Love you, Dad. Love you, son. Uniform or not. Word spread. Harlan holed up in his truck, engine idling, but Reggie appeared at lunch, sheepish with pie. Sorry about the glass, cuz. Heat of the moment. Elias clapped his back. Water under the bridge. Lila orchestrated it all, her wedding a catalyst. Picnics by the creek, stories swapped over esmores. Aunt Miriam baked Elias's favorite, lavender shortbread, slipping it with a note. Poet's heart, remember? Even Harlan cracked, cornered at supper. Ain't right, he grumbled, but softer. But blood's blood. Marcus, ever the bridge, extended a hand. Truce, uncle. Harlan took it, gruff. For Lila's sake. Weeks blurred into a new rhythm. Elias extended his leave, base granting grace for family matters. Days filled with farm life. Elias teaching Lila self-defense holds from basic. Marcus and him stealing hours in the hayloft. Kisses turning to more, bodies rediscovering in sunlight shafts. Nights, family fireside. Dad sharing war stories from Nam, parallels drawn to Elias's tours. Harlan listening despite himself. Lost good men, Dad said once. Didn't matter who they loved, just that they fought. Harlan grunted but nodded. One evening, ridgetop, sunset bleeding orange, Marcus knelt. Not with a ring, but a question. Marry me, Eli? Not instead, beside. Us three, a knot unbreakable. Lila beside him, grinning. Elias laughed, tears hot. Yes. The kiss sealed it, wind carrying their joy down the hills. But peace tested true in letters. Bass brass inquiring, family whispers reaching town. Elias faced it head-on, video call to his CO. Captain Thorne reporting changes, sir. Personal. Understanding not. Loves the real battle, son. Win it. Home. Dad drove him to the airport, hug lingering. Come back soon. Doors open. Harlan's parting. A firm handshake. Keep him straight, safe. Boarding, Elias glanced back. Marcus and Lila waving. Pharma beacon. Love wasn't linear, he knew. Twists of judgment, bends of grace. But in their knot, he found strength. The plane lifted, New York shrinking, but his heart stayed rooted, ready for whatever war came next. Peace, fragile but real, bloomed like lavender after rain. No, the story wasn't over. Back at base, whispers followed. Thorns out, loud and proud. But Elias stood taller, mentoring young enlistees, rainbow pin gleaming. Marcus and Lila visited, their triad a quiet revolution. Wedding photos including him, hands linked. Harlan wrote once, saw your face on the news. Proud in my way. Bending, indeed. Years on, Elias retired colonel. Marcus ranch foreman, Lila teacher. Family expanded, adopted kids calling him Uncle Eli. At their vow renewal, under that oak, Harlan officiated, voice steady, love wins. And it did, messy, human, profound. Elias's boots hit Virginia soil with the thud of homecoming. The humid air of Fort Bragg wrapping him like an old flak jacket, familiar, heavy, but no longer suffocating. 3 weeks at the farm had rewritten his map. Marcus's texts buzzing constant, miss your laugh already. Lila's packages of shortbread arriving with notes, bend, don't break. Dad's rare calls gruff but warm, fences hold. Yet the base was his proving ground now, where truths saluted louder than secrets ever could. He reported in crisp, CO, Colonel Reyes, a wiry Latina with a stare that peeled lies, greeting him in her office, JROTC posters curling at edges. Captain Thorne, extended leave treated you well. Her eyes flicked to the rainbow pin on his lapel, new and unapologetic. Elias stood easy. Yes, ma'am. Family matters resolved. She leaned back, fingers steepled. Heard rumblings. Wedding drama. Base gossip traveled faster than Apaches. He nodded, brief. The humiliation, the salute, the kiss that cracked the world open. Reyes listened, no flinch. Good. Armies evolved. Post-EDT. Pride marches on post. But family? That's the foxhole you fight solo. She slid a file over. Promotion boards next month. Your record's stellar. Don't let ghosts dim it. Ghosts did linger, though, in the mess hall, where privates stole glances, whispers trailing. Thorne's one of them. Saluted his boyfriend at a wedding. Elias ignored, focusing on drills. Leading PT runs through pine thickets, voice barking cadence that echoed his father's. One recruit, young Javier, hung back after laps, sweat slick and hesitant. Sir, my brothers, like you, out west. Folks don't talk to him. Elias clapped his shoulder, echo of Marcus. Tell him family's not blood alone. It's choice. And choices bend. Javier nodded, eyes bright, another thread woven. Nights, Elias faced on the farm, screens splitting Marcus's grin and Lila's wave, hay bales blurring behind. Harlan asked about you. Marcus said one evening, voice low as if Harlan lurked. Said your old room's ready if you visit. Elias laughed. Progress. Marcus's eyes darkened, intimate. Miss you. Loft's lonely. Heat flushed Elias's cheeks, memories of tangled limbs and whispered vows. Soon, he promised. Thanksgiving. Us three, turkey and truths. Thanksgiving came crisp, leaves carpeting the drive as Elias's rental crunched gravel. The farm glowed. Lanterns on porch, smoke curling from chimney. Lila met him at the door, flour-dusted hug. Dad's carving. Harlan's coming, neutral ground. Inside, aromas assaulted, sage stuffing, pie crust. Dad in the kitchen, apron comical over his frame, knife flashing turkey. Son, the word warmer now, routine. Elias hugged him, brief but bone deep. Smells like mom's. Dad's eyes misted. She'd say same. Marcus emerged from the hall, flannel hugging broad chest, pulling Elias into a bear hug that lifted him. Welcome home, Cap. The kiss, chase for company, but electric lingered. Dinner table set for 5. Harlan arriving fashionably late, Stetson in hand, face etched, but eyes less stormy. Thorn, nod to Elias, then Marcus. Hail. They sat, grace said by Lila. Thanks for bends and beginnings. Turkey passed, talk skirted edges, football scores, harvest yields, until Harlan cleared his throat, fork down. Saw that article. Your unit's pride run. Foolishness, but you let it. Elias met his gaze, steady. Courage, uncle. Same as any run. Harlan chewed, slow. Maybe. My boy. Your cousin Reggie, he's got a friend. Similar. Asked me what to tell his folks. Silence, charged. Dad jumped in. Tell M loves the fight worth winning. Harlan grunted but nodded. Reckon so. Dessert brought lightness. Pie devoured, stories swapped. Elias's recruit tales, Marcus's full berth at dawn. Harlan even chuckled at Lila's quip about wedding cake fights. As plates cleared, he pulled Elias aside on the porch, night air nipping. Ain't easy, boy. Bible says, Elias interrupted, gentle. Bible says love your neighbor too. I'm just asking for that. Harlan's hand extended, rough. Neighbor it is. Handshake firm, a dam breaking. Post-holiday, Elias threw into work, training sims, where he paired with Marcus on leave, their teamwork seamless, salutes laced with private winks. Promotion board loomed, nerves fraying, but Reyes prepped him. Own it. All of you. The day came, panel of brass in starch greens, questions probing, tactics, leadership, personal conduct. Elias answered crisp, then added, unprompted, Sirs, I've served with honor, hidden parts of myself until I couldn't. Now, I lead openly. Stronger for it. Nods, no flinch. Result. Major Thorn, effective immediately. News hit the farm via call. Cheers erupting, Lila whooping, Marcus's voice thick. Knew you would. Visit planned. Elias driving up, ring box tucked in his duffel. Not for show, but promise. Under the oak, snow dusting branches, he knelt before Marcus and Lila. Velvet box open. 3 bands, intertwined gold. Forever. Forever. They echoed, kisses sealing in winter hush. Life wove on. Elias Major, mentoring, Marcus Papa to their first adoption, a shy boy from foster care. Lila school counselor, bending young hearts. Family holidays swelled. Harlan at table, stories softening. Aunt Miriam's shortbread annual. Elias's book, memoir of foxholes and family. Topped charts. Letters flooding. You gave me words for my silence. One spring, vow renewal under Lavender arch. Guests diverse. Soldiers in blues, kin in pastels. Harlan's toast, to love that endures. Elias, Marcus, Lila hands linked, tears falling. Humiliations, echo. Faint scar, testament. Truth's salute. Victory, eternal. Major Elias Thorne's new stripes itch like fresh ink, a reminder that rank came with eyes. More now, post-book, post-promotion. Fort Bragg buzzed. Signings in the PX, interviews with embeds who probed softer than brass but cut deeper. How's it feel, Major? Gay icon in camo. Elias smiled for cameras, words measured. Feels like service. No icons, just integrity. But alone in quarters, walls closing, he craved the farm's open sky. Marcus's arms a horizon. Spring deployment loomed. Advisory role in Jordan, 6 months of sand and strategy. Goodbye at the airport, gutted. Lila's hug fierce. Come back whole. Dad's clap steady proud. Harlan's gruff. Watch your 6. Marcus last. Kissed desperate in parking shadows. Letters, he whispered. Every day. Elias nodded, throat locked. Love you. Both. Jordan baked brutal. Elias's team embedded with locals, teaching marksmanship, building trust amid tensions. Nights in prefab, he wrote. To Marcus, dream of the loft, your hands like home. To Lila, kids ask about aunts and uncles. Tell them we're the lucky ones. Responses anchored. Marcus's photos, farm sunsets, toddler Theo's first steps, Lila's grin beside. Miss your voice. Theo says Uncle Iwi in his sleep. Halfway, news fractured. Truck bomb in Baghdad echo, but closer. Harlan's heart attack, mild but warning. Elias's sat call. Lila tearful. He's grumbling, but scared. Marcus steady. Families rallying. Come if you can. Leave scraped. Elias wheels up, landing in New York fog. Farm loomed. Lights soft against autumn chill. Harlan in bed. Pale, but pugnacious, from mocking his scowl. Thorn. Weak but there. Elias took the chair. Uncle. Silence, then. Doc says change or croak. Reckon that's for hearts too. Elias's hand covered rough knuckles. Reckon so. Vigil stretched, stories swapped. Harlan's youth tales, Korean draft, love's lost. Hit a lot, he admitted. Wife knew, forgave. Dawn, as monitors beeped steady, he gripped Elias's hand. Sorry, boy. For the glass, the words. You fought good. Tears tracked Elias's cheeks. Forgiven. Long ago. Harlan nodded, sleep claiming. Outside, Marcus waited, arms open. He's bending Eli. They walked fields, leaves crunching, Theo toddling between. Lila joined, quartet complete. Family, she said. Messy masterpiece. Back to Jordan, lighter, team bonds deepened. Elias sharing farm photos, my anchors. Locals warmed, one captain confiding. My son. Like you. Advice? Love loud. It's the real armor. Mission wrapped early, accolades. Bronze Star, but Elias's prize was home, discharge papers in hand. Retirement at 40, time for roots. Farm life bloomed. Elias adjunct professor at Cornell. Lectures on leadership laced with love's lessons. Marcus expanded ranch. Eco tours, veteran retreats. Lila's school thrived, pride flags waving. Theo grew, asking, Uncle Eli, why 3 rings? Elias knelt, because love multiplies, kiddo. Never divides. Anniversary trip, Bermuda, waves lapping white sands. Evenings on balcony, cocktails sweating, they renewed. Marcus's vow, my soldier, my soul. Lila's my anchors, my fire. Elias's, you save me. Daily, nights tangled, 3 bodies, 1 rhythm. Passion a language beyond words. Winter brought challenge. Theo's questions sharpening, school whispers starting. Why 2 dads, a mom? Elias fielded gentle. Families come in colors, Theo. Ours is rainbow strong. PDA meeting tense, 1 parent sneering. Indoctrination? Lila fierce. Loves the lesson. Support swelled. Friends rallying. Harlan calling. Tell the boy he's lucky. 3 parents? Beats 1 grumpy uncle. Spring fair, town square. Elias manning vet booth. Marcus wrangling hayrides. Lila judging pies. Harlan showed, arm in arm with Miriam, buying Theo cotton candy. Progress, he quipped. Laughter free, easy. Decade mark, renewal grand. Under oak now scarred with lightning. Guests spanned. Reyes retired, toasting. Javier, now lieutenant, saluting. Harlan's words, from shards to whole. Grace wins. Rings exchanged, kisses public. Theo flower boy grinning. Elias, surveying kin. Dad frail but beaming. Lila pregnant with their second. New. Humiliation's night birth this dawn. Truth salute. Symphony unending. Colonel Elias Thorne, retired but titles stuck like medals. Watch from the porch as Theo, now 10, chased fireflies across the meadow, his laughter a firework against twilight. 20 years since that wedding, shards long swept, but echoes shaped him. The man who turned humiliation to him. Farm evolved. Solar panels glinting. Guest cabin for retreats where vets like him shared stories. Scars fading in lavender-scented air. Marcus joined him, arms slipping waist, chin on shoulder. Theo's got your eyes. Am I stubborn? Elias turned, kissing temple. Lucky kid. Lila waddled out, hand on belly. Girl do soon rose for the arch, dinner's burning. Harlan's inside, regaling the guests with his conversion tale. They chuckled. Uncle Harlan, 80-something firebrand turned ally. His sermons now laced with love thy neighbor, literal. Life's tapestry wove rich. Elias's second book, Salute to Truth, Academy's staple. Lectures worldwide, voices amplified. Marcus's ranch, model sustainable. Awards, but his pride? Theo's first horse ride, unassisted. Lila's principal now, programs for queer youth blooming. Family swelled. Rose arrived squalling. Aunt Mim's lullabies. Javier's wedding, Elias best man. Full circle. Challenges came. Theo's teen angst, crushes questioned. Dad's passing quiet. Bed at 90, last words. Loved you fierce, son. Grief bent them, but not broke. Vigil under oak, Harlan's prayer. Rest in grace. They rose, stronger. Golden years, travels, Jordan revisit, locals hosting, Bermuda honeymoons annual. Elias and Marcus, graying, hands vain but laced, Lila's laugh, eternal spark. 80th for Elias. Farm alight, kin gathered, Theo's spouse, kids wide-eyed. Toast flowed. Marcus's voice cracked, my captain, my forever. Lila's, brother, you taught us bend. Harlan, frail Cain, from fool to family. You won. As cake cut, Elias saluted mirror self, from shattered flute to symphony. Truth told, love lived, meaning etched eternal.